Thanks, organizers, to allow me to speak on two abstracts. This is the two abstracts on non-epithelial tumors of the ovary. First one is the salvage high-dose chemotherapy in female patients with relapse and refractory germ cell tumors, the experience of the European Bone Marrow Transplant Registry. A small series of the study have reported the salvage high-dose chemotherapy and hematopoietic stem cell transplantation in female patients with relapse and refractory ovarian germ cell tumors compared to the testicular germ cell tumors. And this was the retrospective analysis of the some data of the female patients who have germ cell tumors who have refractory and relapse with the previous chemotherapy drugs, and they undergone high-dose chemotherapy followed by the transplantations. So between 1986 to 2012, there are the 60 registered female patients with germ cell tumors have been taken in this data analysis, and the median age of this population was 27. If we see the primary side, the 67% of the patient having a primary at ovary, and rest of the patients having a mediastinum retroperitoneal combinations, and some of the patients having pituitary and pineal, and some of the patients, 3% having a MUO, means the germ cell tumors located at the lungs or liver. The patient's data shows that the 37% of the patient has received high-dose chemotherapy as a second line, and 48% has a third line. But the 15% of the patient has received 4 to 6 lines later on after the progression of the disease with frequent multiplied chemotherapy. And 85% of the patients, means 51 patients, has taken transplant at the end of the high-dose chemotherapy, while some of the patients having a late intensification as a transplant. Most of the patients received carboplatin, high-dose carboplatin and etoposide as a high-dose chemotherapy combinations, while 20% of the patient has received cisplatin, cyclophosphamide, topotecan, irinotecan as some aspect of the high-dose chemotherapy drugs. And most of the patients, half of the patient has received single high-dose chemotherapy, while half of the patient has received multiple line of the high-dose chemotherapy. So the 9 patients who has taken late intensification high dose were not evaluated for the response, but 51 patient has been evaluated in these studies. And at the end of the analysis, the 33% of the patient having complete response in form of the imaging as well as tumor markers. 16% of the patients having tumor negative partial response, means less than 50% reduction in the tumor diameters with negative markers, and 10% of the patients having positive tumor markers with less than 50% reduction in the tumors. While 10% patients having a stable disease, 25% having progression of the disease because of the bad biology of disease, they have progressed over the high-dose chemotherapy also. And 3 patients died due to toxicity of the chemotherapy, one due to ARDS, one is due to pneumonia and sepsis, and one due to the pulmonary hemorrhage. So we calculate the results with the overall median follow-up of the 14-month. The 78% of the patient who underwent the late intensification, and 72% of the patient who received early treatments having achieved CR and PR with negative markers following the high-dose chemotherapy, and they were free of the relapse and progression at the time of the evaluations. So it's quite good amount, 78 and 72% respectively. In total, at the median follow-up of the 84-month, at 84-month in the survival cases, if we see 42% of the 60 patients were progression-free following the high-dose chemotherapy, 44 patients of the 60 patients were alive at the time of the analysis of the data. If you see the progression-free survival, the 9.9 month is our average progression-free survival with the high-dose chemotherapy, and if you see the overall survival, it's 27.6 month OS with high-dose chemotherapy. If you see the line of this high-dose chemotherapy compared to second line, third line, or 4 to 6 lines, the response rate, progression-free as well as overall survival rate, is quite better when you use high-dose chemotherapy as a second line compared to the third line or more than third lines. So it's better to start early in refractory and relapse cases. So the salvage high-dose chemotherapy represent therapeutic options for the female patients with refractory and relapse germ cell tumors. Outcome was better for the patient who received high-dose chemotherapy as a second line compared to the later on. But still, we need some of the prospective data and phase 3 trials to put this in our guidelines. The second second abstract is ovarian granulosa cell tumor, XCOD tumor, hormone receptor positivity and response to the hormone treatments, particularly aromatase inhibitors. So the ovarian sex-cord stromal tumor is less than 5% of the tumors, and out of this, the 70% they are the GCT, granulosa cell tumors, and they have potential to recur after the therapeutic surgery later on, some decades later, some 8 years, 5 years later. So they mostly treated with the surgically, afferently. And later on, the chemotherapy and some of the hormonal treatments they have used with little supporting data at present. Despite of the evidence in breast and epithelial ovarian malignancy, as we earlier see with recent 2 abstracts, the ovarian epithelial tumors with hormone positive and response to the hormone treatments. But in this granulosa cell tumors, the data is very square because of very less frequent tumors occurrence. So to evaluate the clinical efficacy of the hormonal manipulation in granulosa cell tumors with IHC positivity of the hormonal receptors. So they evaluated the clinical data from granulosa cell tumors which are recurrent from 2004 to 2014 in 1 large UK centers. ERPR has been documented with the IHC study on tumor samples, and the primary outcome was progression-free survival rate on hormonal therapy, and secondary endpoint was the ERPR positivity and correlation of the hormonal therapy to the response to the treatments. So to include in this, median age was 54 years. The median interval from diagnosis to detection of the recurrence and advanced disease is 5 years. The 67% of the patients receive hormonal manipulation, often previously heavily pretreated with the chemotherapy drugs as used in routine practice. The chemotherapy has been tried in 4 patients, multiple line given prior to the commencing the hormonal manipulation also. The aromatase inhibitor has been prescribed on 14 occasions. In some patients, it has been also prescribed repeatedly, AI versus GnRH or GnRH versus AI. So median PFS was 14 months. 5 patients, they continue to respond at the time of the analysis. The tumor analysis in 9 instances of the hormone manipulations, and ER positivity is related to the longer PFS in those treated with the AI. Median is 20.5 months versus 14 months in ER negative cases. So if we see this result, the letrozole has a very good response in patients who have ER positive granulosa cell tumors compared to the ER negative tumors. We can see the 32-month has response when the patient is having a ER positivity compared to the 3-month when the ER is negativity. So I conclude the second abstract. The granulosa cell tumor of the ovary in adult is very rare tumors with low malignant potential in middle-aged patients. Surgery is the main treatments. But some of the patients, they are developing the tumor recurrence, and they have been treated with multiple line of the chemotherapy. The PFS is comparable to the previous review with the AI, and ER positivity is potentially very well correlated with the prolonged response with the AI therapy, but it also seen in some of the ER negative cases. So prospective studies is still required to document the solid evidence against the AI responsivity in ER IHC positive granulosa cell tumors. Thank you.